It's a beautiful rainy day here in Washington, which means it's the perfect time for a how-to video. How to adjust a box blade. Now, just a general safety tip. Normally you don't want to do stuff with implements up in the air. They can get bumped into and fall to the ground and crush your feet. If you do have your implement under the air, put blocking under it like I do, or keep your feet at the very least away from the underside of the implement. Crushing your foot's not a good time, especially if the engine's off, you can't reach the keys. Keep that in mind too. I personally leave the engine running when I'm adjusting my implements, so if something does stomp on my feet, I can reach my levers and lift it. Consider that. Okay, so first adjustment you'd ever make on a box blade is up and down. That lever's by your hip. You've already done that? Great. Let's try another adjustment. The next adjustment you would do for grading a driveway or something of that is with your top link. This is your top link. Let's get you. This is a turnbuckle style top link. What happens when you adjust this top link is the back blade of your tractor, or of your box blade, excuse me, or the front blade of your box blade, it'll change the angle at which they impact the earth. So here's how it affects you. If this front blade is forward and into the ground at an aggressive angle, it'll tear the ground up. Now, if the whole box blade is angled backwards, the rear blade can come through and smooth the ground. So there's a couple angles you usually use on this. One will be flat. We'll show you how to just flatten out your box blade. When you're flat, you can drive backwards, use it like a bulldozer, just do common tasks. You can put these scarifiers down in the ground, tilt the box blade forward, get these scarifiers in there and start tearing up the ground. You can take the scarifiers out like I have here, tip the box blade backwards. That'll allow this rear blade to smooth the ground. So, how do we change the angle of that box blade? Here we go. There may be a few variations on this top link, but they all work kind of the same. This one's your most common style. This is called a turnbuckle. You turn it, and it will either lengthen itself or shorten itself. So if I turn my turnbuckle, oh, and also you got a nut here. Turn that away to enable you to move this thing. I'll show you that in a sec. So you can turn this guy this way, and you'll see slowly this top link is moving that way. So that's going to put the rear blade in the smoothing position. The opposite's true as well, right? Tighten this guy up. You can see the top link moving towards us, which means the front blade is getting more aggressive. And you can also get those scarifiers down into the ground at an aggressive angle. So that's how you do that. A lot of folks like to use a level when they're out here doing this thing, right? Big old level. In many cases, you know, if you're just running your box blade flat, you get your level out here, put it down on the box blade, and see where you're at. So that's the use of that guy, right? Now this top nut, the purpose of this is so you can roll it down, all the way down to the top side, top link. What this is going to do is you're going to tighten it down nice. That'll make it so this top link doesn't move while you're working. It's going to lock it in place. Sometimes it'll get a little tight on there. It's nice to always carry something like, you know, this adjustable wrench with you, which also can act like a whacker or a hammer. Or I like to carry channel locks in my little tractor toolbox. There's a lot of reasons for that, but you know, I can use them to pull out pins that are stuck and stuff like that. And I can also whack stuff with it. So whatever, you know, when you're out in the middle of nowhere on the tractor, any tool is the best tool. Okay, so that's how we do the most common adjustment for using a box blade. That's how we adjust that top link. Okay, there's another adjustment you can do too, though. This one you don't use quite as much, but there are very good applications for it. So let's show you what that is in a sec. So the next common adjustment on a box blade is over here. This guy right here is attached to one of my lower link arms. Now these come in a lot of variations too. There's a couple main ones. There's a top link style that's pretty common. This guy's basically a top link too. So what this does, as I tighten or loosen it, we are going to affect the level of the box blade this way. Now, why would you want to go and do that? Well, let's say you want to put a crown on your driveway. So you want to pull gravel at an angle so that more gravel goes up here than down here. Or maybe you want to cut on your driveway to make a little drainage. Or who knows, maybe you're carving the side of a hill. I've done that a lot around here, kind of reshaping hills. So how you make that adjustment, pretty easy on this guy. You either do it like you did on this top link, where you spin it till you're at the level you want, or on this guy, I lift it up, and that'll unlock it, and then I turn it. And as I turn it, it affects the angle at which my box blade sits from side to side. Normally you want these box blades flat, so once again, get out of level, especially if you have a ridiculously giant yellow level here, and check and see where you're at. So right now we're not quite level. We're gonna have to angle her out the other way, but we'll get to that. The next thing we want to look at is I guess the third and final adjustment you can do on these box blades. So we're looking at the back of the tractor, and way down here on the bottom of the lower link arms, we call this a sway chain. These used to just literally be chains at some point. This is a box style sway chain. I like these. These are easy to pull out pins. There's also some that use a link like this. So you'd have a turnbuckle style with some chain on it. There's different types, you know, but they all follow the same principle. When these things, in this case, are loosened up, sometimes these pins get in here a little tight. These lower link arms have movement from side to side. Now, how can you use that to your benefit? Well, let's show you. So once your sway chains are loosened up or tightened one way or the other, you can push your box blade out from side to side. Now you got to be careful. If you push it too far this way, your tire is going to rub against it. Also, you're not pulling it straight. It angles as it goes. So you don't see a lot of this going on, but sometimes you need just that little extra inch to one side or the other. You can push this from side to side. But most of the time you hook up your box blade, you want to have it dead center. You don't want it to have a lot of slack. So if you do have adjustable chains on either side where you can have slack on them, you'll tighten them up pretty good. You want to have just a little bit of wiggle. That way things will bend but not break. But that's how that works. You can adjust your offset of your blade behind your tires by tightening or loosening your lower sway chains, or by taking your pins out of your box style sway chain. So that's about it. 3 major ways you can affect how your box blade interacts with the land. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.